live, and then to hit live on the Instagram so that it can have a chance to see what everyone else gets to see. Good morning, good morning. And we are now hitting the record. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good morning. It's Dr. Z, Greater Self LLC. Like today, I remember who I am, which is different because, as you know, I normally just jump in here and start talking away. But I figured it'd be cool if I knew who I was today, if I'm going to introduce a special guest, especially as we're talking about a specific topic about embracing your physical fitness so that you can continue your professional growth, professional, personal, all the areas of growth, and how what you do with your body is going to make a huge difference in what you will be able to have the capacity to do with the whole rest of your life. So today, if you are joining us anywhere other than, or I should say pretty much if you're on IG and you want to see who I'm talking to, or just good morning, Fruit of Life with Stacy, I appreciate you. That's on Instagram. If you are wanting to give a shout out, I'd be more than happy to shout you guys out. And if I can't spell or enunciate your thing, my apologies right now. If you're on Instagram and you want to see who I'm talking to, I am meeting today with an awesome peer in the field, LA based. So Stacy, another LA therapist, Rita Black. She is a hypnotherapist who also has a podcast called Thinking Thin. I'm trying to remember this. I can do this.
It's actually thin thinking, just so the thin comes first. It's thinking second, but it's okay. No, I'm just so if somebody goes like, it's not thinking thin. Okay.
So thin,
keep going.
Yeah. Podcast. Yeah. Rita Black, hypnotherapist. I feel privileged and honored to be able to help in sharing information about an upcoming class that she'll be hosting, a free webinar. And I'm definitely going to let her share about that specifically, that I think all of us, if you are interested or in a place where you're considering things like, what do I need to do with my body? Or maybe the pandemic, you still got a little of that weight just holding on, it won't let go for dear life, or you've lost the same 10 pounds a million times. So technically lost tons and tons of weight, but to hear specifically her process and how she goes about supporting and helping people with being able to get into a place where they're able to gain control of really what's happening with their body and be intentional about how they're showing up and doing it, and then consistently maintaining the same process throughout their life. So there isn't a problem of, I keep re-losing the same 10 pounds over and over again. If you guys have noticed some of my posts where she shared, she's been able to lose and keep off, I think it was 25 or 40 pounds over
40 pounds for 28 years. Yeah.
28. See, we're even adding more years onto it, and it just keeps going.
Yes, unfortunately, I just had a birthday, so I added another year on, but yeah.
Happy belated birthday. So with that, because as you all know, I can talk and talk, and today was a coffee day. So the activity and energy is probably over here. What are you having today, Rita?
I am having coffee, black, nothing in it, just straight caffeine.
All right.
So I got to match your energy, right? So
I appreciate it. So again, if you guys are not over on YouTube or already in any of my private Facebooks or on LinkedIn, or maybe even my personal Facebook page, I don't even remember if it's showing there or not, but if you like to see this lovely lady that I'm speaking with, feel free to jump over there and get connected with us. Leave a comment, say a hello, a good morning. We appreciate you. And Rita, if you would not mind enlightening us on some of the things that we can come to expect. What is it, September 19th? Is the
a week from today, Tuesday, I am hosting a masterclass. Which I love these masterclasses where we are really diving into the mindset of what I like to call weight mastery, which is not about just releasing weight, but creating a more powerful intercommunication system within yourself in the area of weight. Because my guess is that most of your people pretty with it, highly functioning, powerful women who, are really working on themselves in their lives. And if anyone kind of thinks about the areas of your life that work for you, the way you communicate with yourself in the area of that your life is uh, you communicate with yourself differently than the way you do about food and weight. We tend to, if we have been struggling with our weight, as I did for over 2 decades, up and down the scale, 40 pounds. I was one of those people, like you just said, Dr. Z, who was like, I could lose the weight, but then it would come back. And then I could lose it again, then it could come back. And the crazy thing is, my mom was obese, but my mom was also a nutritionist. Like, she knew so much about food and the components of food. And what fascinates me, because I learned this early on, that it wasn't just knowing about food and what to eat and how when to eat it and diets and all that stuff, because most of my clients or students know enough about weight loss to or weight management to write their own New York Times bestselling weight loss book, and have people lose weight. So it's not about uh
What you know,
and
and it's
but I have my little chart here, but like our conscious mind, that part that's like, I want to lose weight, I need to lose weight, or I want to get fit, I want to be healthier, I want to eat better, all that stuff. It's really a very small part, our conscious, critical, analytical mind. The other 88%, our subconscious
mm,
is the stuff that the part of the brain that wants to just keep on keeping on as it knows, right? Like our
right.
habits, our beliefs, even our identity. I know you probably address identity because you're a change maker as well, Dr. Z. But I find that helping somebody make a transformation, so at the root of it is identity. And when we kind of label and see ourselves as somebody who struggles with our weight, we kind of hold ourselves in that same world.
Hmm.
And that kind of traps us in a way, because even though we might be going on a new adventure with weight, we're still seeing ourselves as somebody who needs to be controlled, hasn't gotten it right yet, all these things. And that really can kind of wound us critically in that area, because we'll give up on ourselves. We'll get 3 days in and be like, yeah, this isn't working. And, I can't do this anyway. Or we'll sign up for a gym membership and, get a month in and be like, yeah, no, who was I to think that I was going to, go show up at the gym? Right. So I like to invite people to really, so what we're looking at in this master class is these things that are subconscious that get in our way when we go on those journeys of weight loss, right? Like, and there really are very three main things. So we really are going to get into that in the master class. And we're also going to do hypnosis. And why hypnosis, Rita? Like, how does hypnosis help people with weight management? Well, I think the main thing is, Dr. Z, that and this probably better than anybody else, but as we develop and grow, like from our early years into our 20s, we're just imprinting everything, right? What our
Right.
parents tell us, what our
Taking
society tells
everybody's
us.
stuff and like, okay, package,
That's
put it together. This is it.
right.
And now I'm
This
going
is,
to
and
present this version.
yes, and this is how I imprint the world. And then my brain, which is an amazing thing, will now filter out any information that it doesn't deem important to reinforce what we already know to be true about ourselves in the world, right?
Hmm.
So that can work really well for some things, but as you know, it doesn't work so well for a lot of things, right?
Well,
And
it
especially if
actually
we had
works.
challenging childhoods.
I was going to say it actually works perfectly. Maybe the bigger picture is that what we imprinted wasn't something that was going to be supportive to us. So it's doing
Exactly.
its job. But if what we said was, oh, I'm not good with my weight, I'm not this, I'm not that. And I would say the easiest example, people saying, I'm not good at math. Like, that does not have to be your reality, just like having a concern or challenge with your weight doesn't have to be your reality. but until you give yourself permission to choose a different identity. And now,
Exactly.
as I'm pretty sure you're sharing, start to deconstruct those things that have been imprinted and embodied that you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we want to do it different now.
For sure, for sure. And math is such a great example. I have a number of educators who are students, and there's that mastery-based learning where pupils will say, I'm not good at math. And the mastery-based learning will say, I'm not good at math yet. So meaning like that opens up this little window in the back of their brain to be like, oh, well, maybe I could get better at math. And I think the weird thing about dieting, and this is what I've seen that's so fascinating in our culture, is that there's this epidemic of starting over tomorrow. And I know when you're working with really highly functioning people, they're perfectionists. And what will happen is, well, it's not that you can't be really good on a plan, probably are. But the problem is something happens, like you go out with your girlfriends over the weekend, or you have a really stressful day and you come home and eat crackers and drink some wine, or you
Or maybe you're at
go
Sonic
away.
getting a slushy every night. Like, I don't know, that could be me. It could.
Yeah. And then your brain's like, well, I blew it. Tomorrow I'm going to be better. And then what it does is it grants you kind of this weird permission to then eat everything else until tomorrow. And then and then we do it again. And what happens is our brain there's a pleasure in this. So the brain gets habituated into it. So then it becomes a dopamine driven event that we're compelled to do. And where hypnosis comes in for any behavioral change, but how we use it for weight management is, so we have this imprinting, like we were talking about, parents, teachers, life experiences. We get into our 20s and now we're like, why? I know I want to lose that 10 pounds, but why am I sabotaging myself? And it's not that you are sabotaging yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. It's really more, there's a problem with the way the brain is designed. And when you want to make that change, it's harder to do because you are now working against this sort of undercurrent, all these beliefs, identities, even the part that protects you. Food tastes good when I feel bad. It's comforting, so we develop this critical filter. So why hypnosis can help you with anything. So if you're not looking for weight, if you're looking for something else, why it can be a very powerful piece of transformational change is that in the state of hypnosis, your subconscious mind becomes more open to ideas of change. And that's so those habits and beliefs can be shifted a lot more rapidly than if you were just doing it consciously, which is usually the way we try to approach it. And therapy, meditation, all these things over time really help change the subconscious. But hypnosis has a way of really being able to get deep quickly and make shifts. So what we do in this workshop or this masterclass is we really look at those 3 subconscious barriers that are kind of keeping you from moving forward towards your goals. Look at how you can actually today or that day start shifting your mindset, and then we're going to do a hypnosis session for weight management so that you get to try out hypnosis, because I think a lot of people, I don't know about
I've seen
Dr.
movies
Z.
and people end up saying stuff like quack,
Oh,
quack. So it's like,
I know.
am I going to
The
be
men.
quacking or no?
I love that. I know, when I started my practice 22 years ago now, that was my main question I got when people were like, are you going to make me bark like a dog? It's like, yeah, no, but I might help you stop smoking. And it's not about me. Like if I am so certain, I have a husband and I have a son who is heading off to college. So I live with 2 men. I have a daughter, but she's been out of the house for a while. And I said, if I could have that much power over somebody in their brain, my husband would pick up his socks. But they would, and my son would make me dinner. But that ain't happening because I'm not able to, like Manchurian Candidate style, go in and set the
Right.
power. But um hypnosis is something, and this is when you are making an intentional desired change, your mind becomes more open to ideas of change. I can't make somebody stop smoking who doesn't want to stop smoking. I get calls all the time. My husband smokes. You've got to help him stop. I was like, does he want to stop? And they're like, nope. I was like, can't
I
help
got
you.
nothing
Sorry.
for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Your brain needs to be, your conscious mind really needs to want whatever change it is that you want. And so, getting aligned and getting really clear on what you want, because I think a lot of times too, and I don't know if you see this a lot, Dr. Z, but in the world of weight management, self-care, there is a lot of self-loathing about our bodies, about the way they look, and and thank you media, and thank you, you know uh patriarchal history, and male gaze and all that stuff, so that we have this built-in distaste of our body. And then so what happens is, when we're struggling with our weight, we become very vulnerable to wanting to get the weight off as quickly as possible so that we can love ourselves. It's like, well, when I lose that 10 pounds, then I will love and
Yeah.
appreciate myself. And I have a saying, loving yourself down the scale, like, and I'm sure, you work with this because I know you do a lot of self-ownership work. It's, if you don't believe in yourself today and love on this body today, you really aren't because what
Growth
happens, and
that people
maybe,
are looking for. It's how do you get to that next level if you want to personally become a better version of yourself? How do you do that if you can't embrace the version that got you here today to even wish for such things? If you are going to build and I get teased by people close to me all the time because of the name of my business. When I'm having my pity parties and I'm doing my own self-loathing and all the things we're talking about, like, man, they're like, your business is called Greater Self. I've had coaches, I've had my parents, my friends, I'm like, well, if you're greater self, then shouldn't you be a greater version of yourself? And I'm like, oh my gosh, the disrespect. And then in that moment, this part that you're talking about, that willpower, that conscious change, and on your awesome diagram, it shows it's only 12% of it, because the 88 is like what then gets to be shifted when you do this is, okay, that's the name you chose a million years ago. So what's your greater self going to look like today? What's going to be the best version you have for today? So as we're looking at our bodies and how we're going to shift it and manage our weight, what do you have access to make a change with today? And this is where you're going to be illuminating and helping it make a little bit more sense to be tangible, that the scale is going to look like it looked 5 minutes ago, unless you just, had some movements going on or whatever. But
unless you do what people like to do, which is, and I've done it too, kind of lean on the counter and
no way. Okay.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean, I
kidding.
guess
Keep going.
it works.
I love where you're going. I love where you're going. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that in there though.
I'm gonna go try it afterwards now, because now I just need to know. And I think I'll have to post them okay, me standing still, me leaning on the counter. Which weight would I like most? But being comfortable with, this is where I'm at today. So if I want to be a better version, I do have to start with this foundational base that's available. And I definitely share things about going through, well, set it off is one thing that I usually like to help people with, is going from surviving to existing to thriving, so that you can actually take advantage of financial gains and other opportunities. But you can't get there if you don't acknowledge what state you're in. So if you're in survival mode, you're going to have to do stuff a little bit different than when you're in a space of existing. And when you're actually thriving, you'll know, because you realize all that stuff back in survival status, you're not really worried about it. It didn't go away. The scale still looks the same. Bills, other stuff, all the things that are impacted by our physical health may still be the same. But that 12%, that willpower, that shift in the mind, where hypnotherapy can really help somebody set something that they really want to do, you get to start experiencing it in the now, so that when it happens, you're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Not ta-da, no work, but you got to use yourself today.
Your whole self. And yeah. and from the inside out, because I think when you struggle and you're in that place, you doubt yourself, you don't respect yourself, and then you become vulnerable to look outside yourself for the answers, which sometimes, diets work if you work them. But the problem is then you get to 10 pounds down the scale, 20 pounds down the scale. And this is what
You're like, oh,
at,
I can go eat cake again. Again, I'm putting all my business out there, cake and donut and fluffy and nerds.
and what happens though is then people are like, well, I need to lose more weight because I still don't like myself,
Mm,
and do you know what I mean? Like then it becomes imposter syndrome. Like I'm not but like, and a lot of fear because it's like, oh, well, I went on this diet outside of me, but I didn't really,
you didn't
it's
process
really,
the inside part. Like,
yeah, yeah. And you can't, it came from this place of self-loathing, that denial of self rather than owning of self. And yes, then it's like, yay, I've reached my ideal weight. Now I'm going to eat cake. I'll tell you a very funny story. Back in the beginning of my practice, this man came to me. It was fascinating because he had lost a lot of weight on a popular diet program at the time. Can't remember the program, and I wouldn't say it if I did. But anyway, he showed me, he took out this like newspaper clipping back when there were newspapers, and he had a before and after picture. He had lost 50 pounds. And, in the after picture, he was like ripped, and he had bare chested and had the,
all the
abs.
things.
And he's like, you know what happened after I had that photo session for this company? I went and I ate a milk hamburger and a milkshake, and the pounds started coming back. And it's so fascinating. Uh, how our mind works and what drives our behavior. But definitely once we get to that ideal weight, if you are creating your weight journey,
Mhm.
and I think that you're talking about that too, it's like you're taking ownership and you're creating something that's an offensive versus defensive, like I'm fat, I have to lose weight. And you're engaging different parts of your brain, and you're engaging a higher level vision and transformational process for yourself. So it's just really the way you use your brain. If people think, oh, well, it's about the diet, it's about the gym. It is about those things, but it's about using your mind first to
Your
access
mindset.
those things from your
Yep.
your own thing. And my long-term weight mastery journey looks a lot different than a lot of my clients who have kept their weight off now for 15 years or 14 years. They eat differently. We do different types of exercise, you know, but the mental approach is very much the same.
I'm so glad you said you do different things physically because I I have injured myself most recently, and I share about it pretty frequently
Oh,
because,
sorry.
well, it's okay. It's because of what was going on up here and not having that shift. So at 20, literally 21-ish years ago, 22, being in the army, like how I could work out and go all in and
Oh,
like lift
wow.
weights
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Or even in high school, like I used to go lift weights. I don't know what was going on with me back then, but anywho, I would go and like lift weights and like it's like, oh, I'm gonna lift the most and do the most. Well, I'm gonna just say over 40. One, I don't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. But secondly, there is this much benefit in me doing exactly the same things I did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, apparently even like last year because it did not go well. But it didn't mean that I quit still moving my body to impact and implement changes. It does mean, okay, I got to shift. Something does have to be different. I can't do it exactly the way I used to. But if I'm still in a place mentally of deciding, I need my physical body to do certain things because mentally there's other things I want to accomplish. Once my mind is in alignment, I can get my body to the place where I want it to be so I can show up and be the version of myself and really own and embody the identity of who I want to show up as in the world. But it
Yeah.
won't stay the same. It will change, it will shift, and you have to be available for it. Like, oh, yeah, that pain was not you're building more muscles. No, ma'am, you're breaking them because you're you're breaking your bones.
Yeah, it's so true. That's a very powerful point. I have been keeping my weight off for 28 years. The way that I eat today, the way I work out today, the way I exercise is completely different than the way I, did when I took off the weight or 10 years into my weight management. It's an ever evolving self-care process that doesn't, I think we all think, oh, well, I'm going to lose the
There's
weight.
no arrival.
And then there's this arrival and the party, and then you get on the unicorn and you fly off into the sunset and you just stay at your ideal weight and you can do but it's a relationship with yourself in this area and self-seeing. Like I've had Olympic athletes with the same thing, Dr. Z, tell me, I haven't gone to the gym in years because their self-identity of who they were, 20 years ago, a competing Olympic athlete, the way they worked out, the way they took, it's like their brain still expects that they should be able to do the same thing. And of course,
Body
they're
of
not
life.
in that place.
We'll wait.
And
We'll
it's
wait
so
for you.
overwhelming that they just don't do it at all. Right. They're just like, well, then if I can't do that, then
The
I'm not
all of
doing
that thinking, because that never shows up in therapy of any form whatsoever.
it.
So
But yeah.
looking at this overall picture, because I know part of our live for today was to be able to look at how people can embrace their physical wellness and incorporate it into their personal and professional growth. And doing that really looks like embracing your mind, body, and self so you can reclaim a version of you that you want. And yes, that is absolutely greater self slogan. But the beauty is, I don't have to do everything or provide everything for everyone. There's a whole bunch of stuff I know, but what I'm aware of is it's super cool to get help from other people. So, Rita, having had this many years, because she's already shared with us, of research, uh, individual experience, that she can consistently keep showing up and sharing her effectiveness and her way that she's been able to maintain that 25, 40 pounds over 28 years is an
Yes.
opportunity and a thing that why wouldn't, and I'm telling you guys, I am about 98% positive. If I'm joining the program, not saying you got to do it because I did it, but a free class doesn't hurt anyone. And heaven forbid you get a result from the end of this class that then puts you in a position to be open and available to do a process and have someone else guide you through so you're not trying to figure out all these things on your own. You can get the manual, the help, the support directly from a professional that specializes in this specific thing. I can give general stuff all day long, but someone that can help you tailor your own process, why wouldn't you seek it out? And Rita, if you wouldn't mind just sharing again the details of the masterclass that's coming up, just so that people know where to go and sign up. And I'm pretty sure I have a link on majority of my bios.
Yeah, I would go to Dr. Z's link wherever you've provided it, or you can find the link on www.shiftweightmastery.com. But if you have a link, it will just take you directly to the registration page. It's at 9 a.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. We will send out replays. So if you miss it, go ahead and sign up, and then, you can just watch it later if you're going to be working on Tuesday or not available. But like I said, it's great. It's free. Please come. I love doing it. It's super fun. We have a great time. And it's really, if you want to try hypnosis, that people love this hypnosis session that we do in this. People are always like, can I get the replay just because I want to keep listening to this hypnosis session? So please sign up and, come and ask questions. It's going to be a great time. And thank you for that really lovely, just, summing it all up. You're good at that.
I'm all like, there's stuff that people are great at, and I can take a whole cluster of who knows what and then make it all connect and make sense. One of the superpowers of having ADHD. So I can see it all, make the connection like, all right, and now let's tie it up together. So
well, it is a superpower. I love it.
I'm like, so people, if you have ADHD, you are not crippled. There are superpowers, but you got to hone them in and figure out how to work with them. Or you could work with me, just putting it out there. And then
Yeah.
please go to, and if you're on Instagram, you can see the post listed there. I think I penned it as one of my 1 or 2 posts specific to Rita's masterclass that's happening next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you click on any links on any of the bios that I have, and I'll be dropping it in all the groups as well too. So please feel free to go ahead and sign up for the free masterclass, show up, hear the info. If you can't because you're working, because you still have to create a life and have somewhere to live and eat and food like that, I totally understand. Sign up so you get access to the replay. I look forward to seeing you all there. It may be running into next week's Tea Talk, but it's going to be directing you to go check it out anyway. So you might as well just go and
Yeah.
do that.
Or they can catch the evening version. I call it the cocktail hour version, the 5 p.m. Pacific time version.
And then there's that too. There's also it never crosses my mind that anything happens in the evening for me, but I understand the rest of the world.
Right.
That's like are totally available. That's just how my life is.
Right.
So
So you can
I
have your tea
5 p.m.
talk and your master class, and you can have the best of both
You
worlds.
can have it all.
Yes, exactly.
So with that, thank you so much, Rita, for joining us and being willing to jump on. And I was like, wait a minute. I was talking about the body anyways. I'm sharing information anyways. Why not have the person, the guru, the master come on and share a little something with us? So that
Well, thank you for your kind invitation, and this was fun. I like your tea talk. It's a good time, even though I'm drinking coffee.
coffee or tea, they both work. Thing is,
Yeah,
we're here.
yeah,
We
we
got
are here.
and we're sharing the info. So again, honorable, lovely Miss Rita Black, hypnotherapist, also a licensed therapist too. So don't attempt to remotely discredit any of the credentials across the table. Go check her out and sign up for the class. She will be hosting it next week on Tuesday 2 times. So you have an opportunity to catch one of the 2, and they're totally available. Oh, cool. And all of those links are going to be shared all the platforms. And I hope you all have an amazing day. And Rita, if you'll just stay on with me right after, it would be totally
I
cool.
will too. And thank you, everybody. And thank you, Dr. Z.
You are very welcome. Well, y'all have a great day. We'll end there. We'll hit a stop on the recording so you guys can get the whole rundown. And